So, what happens when you truly lose that Christmas spirit? Where was Santa during this whole debacle? The whole thing with Krampus and his many sidekicks. And is this family the absolute worst to deserve the hell that they get put through? We're going to answer those questions and more on today's episode of the Uncultured Cinematic Universe, where we discuss the Christmas horror comedy romp Krampus from 2015. As I said, we're the Uncultured Cinematic Universe, the podcast where two friends show each other movies, TV shows, music, anything we damn well please that we think the other one should hear or see or experience. I am your host, Justin, and in the Uncultured Hot Seat, back from his hiatus, is the effervescent Joe James Murphy. Murphy? Murphy. It's Murphy.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome back, Joe.
Thank you. That's not my middle name, so you can't find me on the internet.
Good try.
I think if Santa existed in the Krampus universe, he's long been dead.
Okay.
I think Krampus is slowly but surely taking over the world. You don't get that. You don't collect that many souls at the end of the movie without someone noticing. Like,
Right.
this is him waging war on an unsuspecting Earth, and
Yeah.
we're all doomed.
We are all in for it. I always have so much fun with this movie, but the first time I saw it, it just kind of blew me away with just how fun it is. I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't even really super familiar with the Krampus mythos. So that kind of opened up the door for me.
You want to know how I know about Krampus?
How do you know about Krampus?
American Dad did an episode where they Krampus kidnaps Steve, the son, and they have to go in and like save him. And somehow like they kill him, and he's voiced by like Danny Glover. And Stan's dad becomes the new evil spirit of Christmas. And so there's like been a recurring storyline on that show since like 2012. Where like Stan's dad drives a bus in Baltimore, but is also Krampus.
That's amazing. I didn't get too deep into American Dad, so I didn't see that, and I didn't know that they do that. That's really fun. So they kind of Santa Claus Tim Allen, into the Krampus seat.
I think. What do we think about Santa Claus in this movie? Because it almost feels like his presence is needed a little bit. Like what?
Yeah, right.
You almost want Santa Claus to either show up and fight Krampus at the very end, or to have him be like looking down at the family from another rooftop and be like, I warned you.
Yeah,
like
this is what you get.
You're doomed to eternal damnation.
Like, is Santa Claus truly like omnipotent? Is he like God in that way, that because he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, and he knows where you fall on the morality scale?
I think we can assume, though, that Krampus also knows those things, so they're working with the same information. Like, so, like, do you think they just, like, work out of the same locations, and at the end of the year, they kind of just split up lists, like, this one's getting presents, this one's going to burn eternally? And then they, like, high five, and they're like, we'll see you tomorrow.
Just another day at the office.
This I think all Christmas movies like this just fail to answer the question of like, okay, if Santa exists on a good year, where are all these presents coming from? Is there like some sort of magic involved to have the parents just not be aware
Mm,
that these presents are appearing out of nowhere? And I was thinking that type of thought for about 5 minutes
yeah.
in this movie before I realized like I can't be asking these sort of questions. This is not the
It's not the
movie
movie
for
to
that.
ask. Yeah.
So I very quickly just kind of laid back and enjoyed the
That's
ride
this
here.
this is the kind of movie to do that. It uh, obviously was directed by Michael Dougherty, who did Trick or Treat. So you get kind of the same vibes,
Just in connection.
right? Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, obviously he has an affinity for dark, dark
Hmm.
imagery, and then just like happens to have fallen into a trope of holiday movies. Um, there's
Kind of
there,
like cool independent movies that are always like takes on things.
yeah,
He's taking one thing and making it into
yeah.
another.
I would, I don't think I would be excited to see him do like a Easter Bunny movie or the next Purge movie or something, but it's like Independence Day kind of a thing, like just purely holiday movies. But like these
He
are,
does Arbor Day and it's like the happening.
or it's who's the Dr. Seuss? Oh, the Lorax, but it's like
The Lorax.
horror. Yeah.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Oh my God.
No.
It's just Us or
Yeah.
Get Out. Yeah. Um, no, this movie, I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you realized quickly, like, I don't need to poke too many holes in this, and just let the spirit wash over you. Let
Yeah.
the dark Christmas spirit.
The evil Christmas spirit.
Yeah. Um, so this is the tail end of our Christmas theme for the month.
Yeah.
We started off with doing the Family Stone, your pick, which is equally as horrifying, I
Yeah.
think, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
That one is squeamish in a cringeworthy way.
Yeah. I mean, we really have to ask ourselves like which family dinner would you rather sit at
Mm.
and sit all the way through? Is it the family stone where you might die of secondhand embarrassment and cringe? Or is it Krampus where you might just die
You
for
just
real?
you might literally just die,
Yeah.
or your I guess they were just cousins and uncles and stuff just saying the worst shit. And just it's essentially the same scene, right? Both anchored by a strong actress. We got Toni Collette in this one, and we got Diane Keaton, the head of the houses, the
Hmm.
matriarchs, the strong pinnacles of those family. Either one. I'm not going to dinner to either one of those houses.
No,
No.
these all suck so bad.
These families are so terrible. So, like, we can draw so many parallels between both of these movies, even though they are wildly different.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I had this one lined up for a while. I think ever since we did our last Christmas episode where we did Gremlins, and I was like, well, I'm gonna kind of stick to my spooky boy shtick, and next year I'm gonna show Joe Krampus.
I mean, there's obvious parallels here.
Obvious.
One of my main notes was like Justin loves like a giggling little Christmas demon. Um,
I do.
it what was your childhood like with Christmas? Did you bring kind of like a chaotic spirit to Christmas?
No,
Very very well behaved.
very well behaved. I only have one sister, and she is 9 years younger than me.
Mm,
So for 8-ish years, I was an only child.
wow.
Um, pure only kid syndrome kind of thing, just like perfect angel, not super humble, really good kid. Wasn't super crazy. And it never really grew into that chaotic kind of stuff. It was just Christmas for me was always just a fun, cozy time.
Mm.
That's when we would, light the fires and the fireplaces, or uh, just gather around and just make a lot of cookies,
So
just do a lot of baking.
it's like a grass is always greener situation. Like you yearn for the chaos that these Christmas movies represent.
Yeah, right. They show me the other side of the fence. I'm just be like, Ah, that's what I want in my soul.
No, I think all of the Christmas movies we have watched, we've covered 4 so far. Family Stone, Gremlins, uh, Krampus, and A Christmas Story.
Christmas
And
Story is like way over here.
yeah, I mean that one's kind of nice, but all of them paint a picture of a little bit of Christmas chaos and kind of makes you appreciate what you do have during the holidays. And so maybe that's what they're there for.
I mean, most Christmas movies are sort of the same in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Either there's like a longing for Christmases of Christmas past, or something is kind of bucking the system in a different way, or it's like a I want sort of things.
Yeah.
So all of the movies can kind of lump together, even the old ones.
Yeah, I mean, the Christmas movies that we cover, it's usually like about people or towns that are uh, putting on masks for Christmas or truly getting into the Christmas spirit. It's about how it being Christmas essentially affects what you are allowed to say, what you're allowed to do, and in some cases, like going against the Christmas spirit or breaking with tradition can be um, consequential to the plot of these movies,
Yeah.
and in other cases, you can get sent to hell for it. And so that's what we're here to talk about
This
today.
is the most extreme
Yeah.
example of that. What on the one soft, pillowy marshmallow side of the scale of A Christmas Story, like if you're not good, you're not going to get the BB gun that you wanted. On the other end of the scale, if you're not good and you lose your Christmas spirit, you go to hell, which I think is a good lesson. I mean, it's not a good lesson. It's deeply scarring and biblical and terrible,
I think everyone should learn it.
I guess.
Yeah.
Joe, give me some of your first impressions and history and background with this movie. Were you aware that this movie was a thing?
I was aware that this movie was a thing. I remember seeing the trailer around what, like 2015
Hmm.
ish. Very creepy. I have the image in my mind of like the goat man, kind of like you see his silhouette on top of the roof for the first time, and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is it hunched over? Why does it look like one of those scary things from the village? Why does it have chain
It does look
sounds?
like the thing from the village.
And then there's some great shots in this movie
Mhm.
that are like truly scary. When the sisters kind of hiding underneath the van in the snow, and then he's gonna come down. And this is a pretty predictable movie in terms of the scares. So
Yeah.
like I wasn't very focused on that, but like there's great shots of like he first lands and then you just see like his hoofs
Shuffling.
shuffling through the snow, and it's kind of terrifying. Um yeah, so I knew of this movie. I knew it was kind of in the same vein as a few other horror slash comedies
Hmm.
that were pretty big in like the 2010s.
Yep.
And so some some of the parallels that I was drawing from this movie also went to like It and
Mm,
its sequel,
yeah.
which we were talking about a second ago. But like there's obvious like extreme horror in those movies, but it's there's a level of comedy to those movies as well.
Sure.
Um,
This one obviously leans a little more into the levity,
it's yeah.
the slapstick silliness. You get that when you have, Adam Scott and David Kirshner,
Hmm.
just hilarious actors in their own right. So they bring some of that to the
Yeah,
table.
and like I didn't realize it was the same guy who did Trick or Treat, but I can see the connection so much better now. Like just in terms of like the the filming style, the effects almost are
Hmm.
similar.
Yeah.
And the level of comedy of people just kind of remarking on what's happening as it's happening.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
someone's getting eaten and they're just like, "What the hell?" Like
Yeah.
like Adam Scott, right?
Uh-huh.
He's kind of he was the comedic one for me in this movie.
Right. But it like you said, it's the deadpan delivery of just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. Which is like the real reaction most people would have. Be like, are you fucking kidding me? This giant Jack in the
This
Box
Jack in the Box caterpillar thing up in
monster
my
addict.
attic.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it did not take me long to realize that I can't really treat these people as people. There's not going to be a hugely emotional center to this movie. Although When everyone's like, spoiler alert, just like dying pretty quickly at the end,
Oh yeah,
there's some
it's
moments of like, oh yeah, they're kind of sad, and then the young son is the last one alive, and his parents like tell him that they love him
yeah,
right before they're sucked down into hell through the snow.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Adam Scott kind of has like the John Krasinski in A
Quiet
Quiet Place.
Place. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, go on to that snowplow that's 10 feet behind
And he
us.
just
I have
stands there
to
and lets it
I have
happen
to
to him.
stay. Yeah, very, very melodramatic, very heightened.
Yeah,
But that's Christmas, baby.
that's Christmas. It's melodrama.
Yeah.
So I do not remember this trailer. I do not remember seeing the poster or anything, but I do remember it being like, oh, the guy that did Trick or Treat, he's doing a Christmas movie now. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my only kind of like convincing thing. It was just like, yeah, let's watch this spooky Christmas movie about What's Krampus? He's like the anti-Santa. Cool.
Yeah.
So this was a good educational movie in that regard too, to more of the Germanic, Austrian, Eastern European history of Saint Nicholas and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. But
It'd be pretty cool if like little Sam was part of Krampus's little crew
so
from Trick or Treat.
there is an extended scene or a cut scene or whatever. I don't think it made it to the theatrical cut that's on wherever you streamed it from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's like a shot of like they pan over and show like their leftover Halloween candy,
Mm-hmm.
and in the bucket or whatever is Sam's like lollipop.
Oh, that's fun.
It's so fun. I
A
love it.
little fun.
You love those little things, those little touches. So this movie was released December 4th, 2015. A good Christmas time December winter romp.
Mm-hmm.
The date was originally for like sometime in November, but they pushed it to get it as close to actual Krampusnacht, the night of Krampus, which is December 5th. Um,
What? Okay. Okay. So obviously Krampus is like a separate entity from this movie.
mhm.
Been around quite a while. What? Tell me more there. What is Krampus?
Krampusnacht is like the night to celebrate um, Krampus in the streets of old the old country,
Old
the mother
country.
country.
Yeah.
There's this celebration where people dress up like Santa and go up and down the street and like terrorize kids and parents and everybody. They're like beating on drums and they got little rattler things in their back and they've got their sticks and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It's dark. There's no like joyous music playing.
Yeah.
It looks very, like satanic and super dark and cool.
Well, I mean, that is essentially what the movie is. It's like you take all the tropes of Santa that we know about, and he's like kind of turning them on his head and like making them a little, not a little, very evil. Like even Krampus, like I didn't notice this at first, but he's wearing like a Santa suit. A little bit.
Yeah.
He's wearing like the cloak with like the fur on it.
The
I
cloak with the fur.
cloak with the fur. He's got the coolest looking sleigh ever with like these like mini woolly mammoths
Yeah.
attached to them. Like, are they all just like ram
They're like
things?
ram tauntaun. I don't know
Yeah,
what they are.
they do. They look like the Star Wars things.
Yeah.
Um.
He is like on paper, and the way that the grandmother Omi
Mhm.
describes it is like he's the anti-Santa. So like Santa is all about like giving and the sacrifice of giving,
Mhm.
and Krampus is more about taking and punishment
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So the lore is that Krampus, like you said, like he and Santa are in cahoots. The bad kids, he scoops them up and puts them in his backpack and takes them away to
Mhm.
his lair.
I mean, again, like I mentioned it as kind of like a parallel movie in my mind here. I
Mhm.
was expecting Krampus, the character himself, to be more of like a character in this rather than like kind of like a
Presence.
background like presence. You watch it and the clown is like horrifying, but also like flamboyant and kind of funny, and like
Mhm.
he's like mocking them the whole time, and he's like going back and forth with them. Krampus doesn't really talk in this. Like this is just like where 2023 me speaking where everything is ironic and stuff, and we all live on Twitter. But like, I want a scene where like Krampus is flying and he kind of like flips Santa off as Santa goes and delivers to the nice kids.
Yeah, I would love
He's
to.
like nerd.
Dork. I would have loved to have seen like something like you said, like if he's taking over the world or whatever, and he's like finally silenced Santa. Like someone's like, I want to talk to Santa. Where's he and all this? And he like pulls him out of his his head and
Just
like
the head.
Yeah. And then they cut over. It's like a flashback scene, and it's he's like, ho ho no, and then off with his head.
Like what is Krampus? Again,
Krampus is like a goat type of individual.
Right. For some reason, I thought it was like going to be a wolf type situation.
Mhm.
And so it shows the face, and I'm like, wait, what am I looking at? Because it's like a melted old guy.
Yeah. So so obviously he has like hooves and horns, like ram horns, so he, or goat, whatever. So he is in old like drawings and history books and stuff like that, always depicted as some kind of like goat individual.
Bit of a fawn.
Fawn type, right?
Satyr.
He definitely has a tiny tail and like big furry thighs, kind of a thing.
Bushy tail.
Yeah, just and like a big happy trail.
Huge claws too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, giant long fingers. But yeah, so he's like you already pointed out too, that he's wearing kind of like desaturated Santa garb, and also like a mask kind of thing, like a face with like an elongated, exaggerated mouth. But it is a mask because like you can see that there's like eyes behind it, and it's like the goat's eyes.
Okay, that's even more terrifying. Yeah, because I couldn't tell what was happening because the eyes are like obviously super sunken in.
Yeah,
and like he's not really like moving, and so I was like, is his face kind of just like paralyzed and stuff, and like into this eternal little scream that he's doing.
So like I think Michael Dougherty hasn't ever fully divulged like the truth of it, but it's like I think he has gone on record and said that like, yeah, it's a mask, and like his true face is what you think it is, kind of thing, which makes it more terrifying and pretty cool. But like it would have been cool to have like an unmasking and see like this terrifying demon goat looking at you, but like kind of having like the mockery of Santa's outfit and that mask face kind of thing is enough of just like, oh, it is kind of Santa, and that is terrifying.
Yeah, this movie did kind of like go against my expectations in a lot of ways. Like in the Trick or Treat episode that we covered, you do have Sam as kind of like a similar omnipresence in that movie as like the spirit of something that's kind of haunting some folks. You do see his face at some point, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of like subplots in that movies that do surprise you, but in this one, I was expecting Krampus to be more of like a traditional villain, and he wasn't, and it was more terrifying for that fact because it seemed like you couldn't negotiate with him.
Yeah.
Like especially at the end though, like when it's like just down to the little boy, and he's like, okay, just give me my family back and like take me. You're thinking like, okay, maybe the little kid ends up burning for eternity, and then like the family notices he's gone, but they forget about him or something.
No, he's like, nope.
He just like starts laughing. He's like, no, you don't get to do anything. They all start laughing. They're like, it's already done.
Yeah, like everyone's dead. Like I can't take that back. Straight to hell you go.
And so it's like, okay, like he either is the devil, he's working with the devil, and like your crime is you lost faith.
Which is biblical in and of itself.
It's so biblical. It's also so like I don't want to say like uncalled for, but it's like, how does every household not encounter Krampus at one point or another? Like, how is everyone in the world not dead a little bit?
See, those are the questions you can't ask. I mean, I guess it's like, I don't know. We'll get into that. Some of the ending stuff, and like, is Omi trapped in a time loop, or anything like that? Is she real?
Krampus 2, Krampus cubed.
Two Kramp.
I will say, we are recording live from Justin's household. Does this episode count as a UCU after bedtime? Because it is very late at night.
It is very late at night. It is 11:12 p.m.
Does the time make it after bedtime, or does Ryan's presence make it after bedtime?
I see where you're going with
You can
this.
speak freely.
It is the timing of it, as well as the location.
Yeah.
Because we are at my house. My kid went to bed like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So it is technically after bedtime. If we recorded earlier this afternoon, like we originally planned, would not have been after bedtime.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's still awake.
Yeah.
So yeah. So my kid is the lotus stone.
That's the lotus stone there. Nice.
Whichever one you go to.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm looking around the room. This is the first time I've been here, folks. This is where Justin usually records. I only see like one wall.
This is my lair. Yeah.
Like, Justin's household's not getting visited by Krampus this year. I will say. Like they are pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, we better don't.
It's lovely in here. I feel like I'm living in a snow globe, but not like
but not in a bad way, like in a cool way.
Yeah.
Right. A couple more things here. This movie had a modest budget of $15 million and a box office of 61.
Nice.
They did pretty good for themselves. And this is cool. You'll dig this. Creature effects done by Weta Workshop.
Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings.
Peter Jack. Give it up for Pete.
Yeah, very, very physical. I guess I'm sure there has to be like some digital stuff happening. Obviously, when Krampus is like running on the rooftops and stuff.
Yeah, that the gingerbread man.
Gingerbread man, definitely. But I wonder if like the close-ups on a lot of like the doll shit is like
practical.
Real. Yeah, right. Like with like the
creature.
My favorite. I'm gonna say it. My favorite character, the little the snake, the snake thing up in the attic. The what is the word I'm thinking of? Joker? Is he like?
It's kind of just like a clown.
He's like a jester.
Yeah.
That can like open up his face.
Yeah.
Jester Jack in the Box. I think the design of that is so cool. He's got like a Jack in the Box at the end of his little sack body, like a snake rattle almost.
Yeah.
And then it was my favorite part in the whole movie. We're jumping all over the place. But like they're kind of like defeating this creepy massive jester thing that's just swallowed one of the kids, and he's about to die, and then like all the elves come in and kind of save him, and he like starts clapping, and then he hugs one of them, and it's really kind of sweet.
He's just like, oh yes.
It's like this little terrifying monster thing, and he's like, my friends.
They've come for me.
Like, I think a movie like this works best when you're rooting for the monsters by the end.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I wish they gave more of the monsters a little bit more of I don't know, some more proper shrift,
That was my note. Yeah. Like this movie's like a tight like hour and a half, right? Like 90 minutes. And you don't really get the monsters until like maybe halfway through, because it follows somewhat of a structure with like the advent calendar kind of showing what's happening on this day. So you start with like the snowmen, but that's that it's not like snowmen are actually attacking them. That's more like the Krampus is outside doing stuff.
Omen, yeah.
And then you get what is it, like the little bear thing, and that's when the toys finally come and pull the kid up the chimney to his death, and then parents forget about him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy the with the quickness, the way that the parents dismiss the disappearance of all their kids.
It was just I'm not gonna gripe about it because I think that's annoying. I'm like, whatever. But like the baby gets stolen, and the mom's like, she forgets about it in like 2 seconds. She's like, okay, let's go. I'm gonna grab my other child. What can you do with that? You can't really treat it as if these are real people. And there's like comedic moments obviously happening in the movie that help you get through that.
Yeah, like
this is a heightened reality.
It is all very heightened, and like you said, we're jumping all around, but let's reel it in here. Let's get some real.
We have yet to have an episode where we're not jumping all around, so maybe that's just our normal thing.
That's just how we do. Let's see. We'll do a stopwatch, and I'm going to show you 1 minute, or you have 1 minute to do the plot. By the way, it must be in iambic pentameter. It kind of just sing-songy, like a Christmas song.
What?
Just give me the plot of the movie. And three, two,
It's so
one,
late.
go.
Okay, we center on a family in Ohio during Christmas. It's a mom, dad, a son, and a daughter. The son kind of still believes in Santa Claus. He's kind of a little nerd, even though he's like 12. Um, the mom's awful in-laws come and visit her sister and her family, who are horrible. The cousins make fun of the son for believing in Santa Claus, so he rips up his letter to Santa, throws it out into the street. The real crime in this movie is pollution. That act kind of is the final straw that loses all faith in Santa and the household, and so they are visited by Krampus, who is the kind of anti-Santa spirit, and he wreaks havoc on them and kills them off with his minions one by one until the little boy is the only one left at the very end, and he kind of like tries to make a deal and he faces off against Krampus, and Krampus is like, no, and drops him right into hell. And then it was all a dream, or is it? It's not. They're all dead.
The end. Or are they dead? I don't know.
I think they are. I think they are canonically in hell at the end of this movie.
Are they in hell or are they in like purgatory?
Even the baby, even the dog.
Yeah, right. There's no escaping for the innocent.
The poor dog.
Which I'm glad, you love an off-screen
The dog didn't deserve this.
dog death, which is totally cool, which is fine. I hate animal cruelty movies, and this one's fine.
No, I'm sure the dog doesn't really know what's happening. She's like at the end there, like, hey, we're all together forever now.
Like, burp? Yeah.
This might be dog heaven if it's everyone else's hell.
Right, exactly. It's always the opposite. Yeah, let's talk about the ending for a second. I love the ending so much because it is the classic bait and switch of like it was a dream, but then they start. It's kind of like it is kind of like a lucid dream where
it's very glossy.
He gets the ornament, and then he's like, wait, hang on, wait a second, and then he doesn't have to say anything, but everyone else kind of catches on. And it's like really surreal for a second, and then like you back up and they're inside of a snow globe. I love this. I love the ending. It's very cool. It's very, we always come back to it. It's a very Black Mirror.
Yes, yeah. It's I left out a pretty crucial detail in my plot description, which is the grandmother. So the grandmother, I think, lives with the family, the dad's mom, or is visiting. And she's got some history. She's got some beef with Krampus.
She's had a run-in before.
In a claymation sequence, we realized that like she had this same thing happen to her when she was a girl, and her entire village got
200 years ago
got cleaned out back in the medieval times by gingerbread men, and Krampus left her alive as a witness, and he was like,
as a
"Tell 'em
reminder
what you saw here.
Yeah.
Tell him what happens when you stop believing in Santa."
Which is a weird thing as a villain to do, to leave a witness.
Right.
Like,
it's very creepy.
Sloppy. It's kind of sloppy work.
So you'd think the grandma would like, better prepare them a little bit.
Yeah.
But she kind of
drops
she
the
very
ball.
much just lets it happen. Like once she realized like shit's going down and they're like trapped in this blizzard and Krampus is attacking them, she's like, yeah, like we got to keep this fire alive. But that's pretty much all she's doing.
Yeah.
She's essentially
she makes hot cocoa.
She's readying them for death at this point. She's like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, she's keeping them comfortable, keeping them warm, and keeping their bellies warm with hot cocoa.
She's like, he'll kill the children last.
Yeah, he'll come for me later. Yeah, she kind of drops the ball. She is 200 years old, so maybe she's had it up to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she's kind of like, Lord of the Rings cursed. Now that she has seen him, she's like cursed with long life kind of thing, and she's like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Let Krampus come.
I want Krampus origins. Like, show me that story of her through the years.
Yeah. So with that, she's experienced this before. Was her whole life in like a bigger kind of snow globe kind of a thing?
Concentric, like Russian doll snow globes?
Concentric snow globes? Or is it... Yeah, like what's the checkbox for Krampus to be like, yes, your family goes in a snow globe now, versus I'm going to leave you as a orphan?
Here's what I think happens. His typical MO is to leave one person so that they can, spread the good cheer of Santa Claus to all, lest they die. And so he did that with the grandma when she was a child, killed all her family and her village. Uh, and he was going to do that to the little boy. What is the little boy's name? I'm sorry, I didn't catch anyone's
Um,
name in this entire movie.
I don't remember his name.
Probably like Max.
Oh, it is
Max,
Max.
because they call him Maxi Pad. Yeah, yeah.
Which
Okay,
is
so he was
hilarious.
going to do that to Max at the end of the movie because Max is kind of the final girl here.
Right, right.
But then Max makes the dumb decision
Stand up to him.
to stand up to his bullies. Never do that, kids.
Take your beatings and
Take
walk
your
away.
beatings. You deserve
Tattle.
it.
Tattle. Yeah. Get the grown-ups, kids.
And so you think this is like a cool moment for Max. Max is really coming into his own. No.
He
Krampus and
fucked
them
over his
just start
psychic.
laughing at him and then they throw him into the hell pit with everyone else. He's like, you wanted this.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah.
That
Max chose this.
if you don't accept your fate and you try to change it, that's what's funny to them. They're like, "Oh, well, I'm going to just stuff you into this tiny purgatory hell of living this Christmas day over and over again, maybe?" Like, is it a
Maybe.
Groundhog Day precursor?
Like we don't know. We don't get to see it, but maybe they do just kind of like go into phases of like forgetting and remembering as they're all sitting around opening presents. Maybe they break out. Maybe they're like real tiny up in his little hell village up there, and
It's a
then that's what the sequel's about.
it's a tiny escape.
Yeah. Um, I I did have a note at the end of the movie when Krampus drops Max into hell. Jonathan was watching at this point with me,
That's a
and
hell of a point to walk in.
he called it he called it like a Nakatomi Plaza fall because it's like
Bad.
it's Alan Rickman and Die
Oh, we'll have to get side by side screen grabs of this and just the slow motion.
Oh, I started laughing.
It's bad.
Yeah, because he's falling to his death.
We're his purgatory. Of all days to live over and over again, Christmas Day, I mean, that's not
Christmas
bad.
Day with your
That's
family,
a pretty good day to
not
live
the
over and over.
worst. Maybe Krampus is saving them from the horrors of life. He's
Yeah.
like, you're clearly going through it as a family.
Now remind me, purgatory isn't a permanent place, right? You eventually get to plead your case or you get to leave.
Welcome back, everyone, to Catholic Corner with Joe.
We did it.
We you bet you didn't think it would be brought back in this episode.
Nope.
If we take a look at our Dante, and we study the Purgatorio, which is the second book in that Divine Comedy. Yes, Purgatory is something you are guaranteed to leave.
Okay, either one way, up or down.
Always up.
Always up?
Yeah, so it's weirdly optimistic for something Catholic, but yeah, so if you die and go to purgatory, they're actually called, so the souls in each area are called different things based on the area. So like hell is like eternally damned or something. Heaven's like eternally blessed or whatever. If you're referring to them as like a group.
Sure.
Purgatory is like the eternally hopeful, I think,
Ooh.
because they're having a shit time. It's not as bad as like hell, but it's like this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
We're kind of like
It's the medium place.
the Dante book portrays it as like a mountain that they're constantly climbing or something like that.
So kind of Sisyphus.
But everyone knows that they will eventually get to heaven. So
Okay.
like there's an idea of like this will not last forever. It's very much the Casper unfinished business situation.
It's
You gotta ring that out a few more times.
it's very much the American Social Security system, like work till you're 65 and then you can retire.
Totally. Then they keep on pushing that back.
An end in sight.
God's like, listen,
guys, I can't.
that last war was not cheap.
Yeah, somebody's got to pay it.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Thank you for the insight. I didn't know that it was always up. I thought it was just like you're kind of just in a holding cell and then till your case is pled.
No, it's not like a waiting room. I mean, like imagine going to purgatory and then they're like, you didn't do good enough here, so you can get fined. I mean,
Yeah. We didn't have time to get to your case. And yeah, you're fucked.
Although who knows how time works in like the afterlife or whatever. So I don't know.
It's essentially the whole plot of The Good Place,
Right.
which I wish you hadn't seen because we could have done that
The
as a
Good Place, by the way, like if I have to pick an afterlife, I hope it's something like that, right? Like that makes the most sense
where
to
there's a
me.
game system.
No, I mean
Right.
the where they end up with The Good Place.
Oh, okay.
You watch all the way to the
Yeah,
end with
yeah,
The
yeah,
Good Place?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they fix it, when
When
they fix the
they
system,
like fix it and it becomes more of like you it becomes more of like a rehabilitative afterlife.
it's essentially purgatory,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. And then they uh this is such a tangent. I really love the choice at the end of that show to just treat um moving on as just like such an unknown.
Yeah.
Like and there's like such a blessing in that. It's like you just don't know what's gonna happen when you walk through this door.
Oh
Uh
yeah, yeah, yeah. The gate at the end.
and like that's the most special thing is like dying and still having something unknown because you it's actually a weirdly a curse to know everything.
Yeah, as like with
Um
Lisa Kudrow's character of like, I've been in paradise forever, but I'm so dumb.
they're just like their brains are just like melted.
Yeah.
Um
Incredible. A couple themes I wanted to talk through here. Um, so I think without some of the supernatural spooky stuff, this movie still obviously works as just a Christmas movie.
mhm.
Um, so like, the superstorm knocks out the power. Polar opposites of family have to lay aside their differences to kind of come together and kind of keep the family alive.
The worst children imaginable. I could not help but stan some of the lines though.
Yes,
Uh,
giddy.
so these
The
these
two terrible
the horrible
sisters.
family comes in and there's like two older twin question mark sisters,
Yeah, about the same
maybe
age,
like a
probably.
year apart. The dad wants them to be boys, and so they're dressed in like hunting gear and they're constantly like wrestling with each other. There's like a deaf mute son, who's like just
Just a pile
stereotypical,
of bricks, kid.
yeah, pile of bricks kid. And then there's like a baby, which I thought was kind of like sad and harsh for this whole movie. Is like everyone keeps on forgetting that the baby exists, and they're always like, "Where's the baby?"
When you have 4 kids and that kind of dysfunctional type of family, of course that 4th kid's gonna get left behind.
Yeah. So the at this first family dinner, when the two girl cousins are like making fun of Max for believing in Santa, their opening line is, "We know you still believe in the big fat creeper," which I died.
That's a good one, yeah.
I was like, okay, new favorite characters. Until Conchata Farrell enters the room as the aunt
Yeah,
character.
uh-huh.
And then she kind of steals it
She
for
steals
me.
it, yeah.
Uh,
And Dorothy is
I'm old enough to know when life is coming at you with his dick out. Who writes that?
Yeah. That's such an out-of-pocket thing to say. We're fucked, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the F-bomb of the movie? I think so.
They dropped a couple F
Did
bombs.
they? It's a
That's actually
PG-13. It's a PG-13
I
romp.
was wondering what the rating was.
It's PG-13.
The rules with PG-13, you can I think I may be completely making this up, but you can say fuck more than once. It depends on like what you
Context?
mean
Okay.
with fuck. Like saying fuck as like a sexual act might be weighed differently than just like saying fuck.
Right.
So
Interesting.
ratings.
Yeah, eagle-eyed listeners and watchers, give us a note, drop us a line, unculturedpodcasters@gmail.com, what the answer is. How many fucks are you allowed in a PG-13 movie, and what are the connotations around
Google fucks PG-13. Yes? Question mark.
it? If so, and then like do a if then statement. If yes equals question mark number hashtag. But yeah, without the supernatural stuff, it would just be just a kind of just a family melodrama of like the conservative
Yeah.
uh, in-laws or whatever family
I did like the second half of the movie better
where they were working
because
together.
right, like it's a family melodrama for like the first half basically with like some weird stuff happening outside that they're not really noticing. Like
Mhm.
obviously this like supernatural blizzard is overtaking the house and blocking them off in another dimension or whatever. And then the movie really starts to get fun for me once they like go up into the attic
Yeah.
and they're like axe murdering some gingerbread men. And then the aunt has like a shotgun. She shotguns like a doll and a teddy bear.
Yeah.
And then the elves come and wreak havoc. It really just starts to pick up. I wish it was a little bit more spread out, but I guess I mean that's a good element of any horror movie is like there's
Yeah.
some tension there.
There's lots of good tension. And like you said, it's essentially kind of like two separate movies, right? It's the
Yeah.
melodrama and then just like the dark creature feature.
Yeah.
Super cool. I also think this is a cautionary tale against capitalism? Question mark.
Oh yeah. The entire opening sequence, I totally forgot about this until now, is just like Black Friday, but make it Christmas at a store.
Yeah. Which obviously we're living in a post pandemic world where like that'll never happen again. That does not happen.
Just like
It's a
storming the
weird time,
stores.
yeah, a weird time capsule waiting for the doors to open and people just barreling into each other.
It did
And
feel insane. Like
yeah, it's
people
like,
are
oh, this is
like
the norm, and like news outlets would cover that.
people punching each other in the face over like a toy reindeer,
Yeah.
a little like horse that you can ride. I was like, no, people would be buying PlayStations on Amazon. Like this isn't a thing.
Well, so yeah, so this was 2015. This was before, I guess, the height of Amazon. This was before the uh, I guess still like flat screen TVs were still several $100s,
Yeah.
teetering on 1,000. They weren't as cheap as they are now.
What if in
Electronics.
like 30 years when they do the Krampus remake, he punishes people for like not doing that? Like we have to get back to our roots of like going out to physical stores
Fighting
and like
together for
killing each other in the arena of capitalism.
a pro-capitalistic movie.
And so it's like a family that's like actually very happy, but like they order everything online, and he's like, "Go touch grass,
Yeah.
and also go to
Go punch
hell."
your neighbor. Want more?
You've
Want
forgotten the
buy.
true meaning of Christmas.
It is to buy things. Which the more commercial aspects of giving are the highlight of Christmas, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So
And like,
instead,
I'm sorry, this family does not seem that bad to like go to absolute hell. You have a typical like older sister is annoyed by all of this, but like in the dinner scene you can see she's kind of protective of her little brother. The parents like still love each other, but like they're maybe struggling to make ends meet, and so they don't have time with each other.
yeah,
It's really just like the lesson here is that if you don't have the time, resources, or money to present an image of like a perfect family to everyone, you're going to burn for eternity.
well, I mean, it's vanity. Like, put aside your vanity and be grateful for what you have, and be grateful for who you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a common trope with the just Christmas movies in general, right? Kind of having to be scared straight, essentially, to like shock you back to reality and appreciate what you have. It's a Wonderful Life, A Christmas Carol, all that kind of shit is, bad people doing bad shit have to be shown the error of their ways.
Yeah.
Um,
And I hold on to my theory that the real reason Krampus is here is that the kid threw the pieces of the letter out the window like a psycho. Like, who litters?
right. Yeah. Why wouldn't he just set it on fire or just be like, I'm just not going to send the letter? Why did he have to be so?
It's because he's a weirdo.
He's a fucking weirdo. Fuck that kid.
He should be bullied.
He should be bullied. Amazing. Let's see. Let's talk through some. Actually, no. Before we get any further, because I'm almost out of my beverage.
I have a rather large beverage and I'm making my way through it.
Yeah. What do you got? What are you drinking?
I am drinking. Let me see the ingredients here because Jonathan did make this for me in my
Shout out
rush out of the
Jonathan.
house. Shout out Jonathan! It tastes amazing, obviously. It's 2 parts gin, 2 parts cranberry, 2 parts Cointreau, and 1 part lemon juice. We're gonna keep it simple, and we're calling it a Krampus
Krampus
with a K. Yeah,
Pus.
Krampus.
Krampus. Krampussy.
Krampus. I felt disgusting texting that to you the other day.
I love that you did.
Yeah.
I love that you did. Joe said, I can't wait to see this cast put their entire Krampussy into this. And they did. They really did.
What do you drink?
This is what I'm calling Aunt Dorothy's eggnog.
Uh-huh.
It is eggnog with cinnamon whiskey and coffee liqueur,
Mm-hmm.
sprinkled with some fresh cinnamon and nutmeg on top.
That sounds
And
amazing.
it's just spiked eggnog. But I love that scene of her just like, "Where's the eggnog? I need to get jolly."
Yeah, I mean, she says she hates kids, but she kind of becomes the cool aunt towards the end of this, and then she gets
By letting them drink.
dragged off by elves and presumably murdered.
She's
Um,
like, "Come on, guys, I'll show you how to make cinnamon schnapps."
just the worst person you've ever met.
Yeah,
just
but
completely taking over your Christmas.
yeah, she's a hoot. Um, but almost everyone kind of deserved what came to them, in a sense. Obviously, the bad conservative family, sure, let them have it. Uh, the two sisters are obviously bullies.
Mm-hmm.
We don't stand for bullying. Get out of here. Get eaten by a monster.
Yes, despite all my jokes in this episode.
Um, maybe the only innocents really were the baby and the pile of rocks kid, the pile of bricks kid who didn't say anything or do anything. Yeah, he did.
I'm not sure anyone really deserved to die. But I do like that this movie kind of went there with it. Again, like it reversed my expectations in a lot of ways.
Good. Yeah.
Uh, in terms of just like you think it's going to be a comedy, and it's a survival horror movie, and maybe they like make it out at the very end, and like their opening presents in the house around them is like littered and on fire, and it's kind of funny in that way. And instead, the last 10 minutes of this movie are just like rapid fire. They're all getting picked off one by one,
Which is super cool. It's super fun to see. It's kind of like Jurassic Park esque in a way of
yeah.
just the group band together, but then they get picked off. Love it.
Which was your favorite demon monster thing?
I remember not super liking the gingerbread men the first couple times I've seen it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they're hilarious
Mm-hmm.
in this most recent rewatch. Obviously, the favorite is the Jack in the Box. That creature is just so cool looking, and
It's
it's
a cool
so unique
design, yeah.
because it was like small. It started small, but like as it consumes more, it gets bigger,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's such a cool choice to have it like go into the duct system and just creep around the house in that way.
This house has the most intense air duct system I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, you live in the Midwest in a harsh winter like that, you gotta have good heating and cooling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't be fucking around with that. So it's obviously it's big enough to hold a worm creature. That one's cool. The demonic possessed teddy bear is pretty cool. I love the design of the elves. The elves, the dark elves or whatever, are really
Mm-hmm.
cool. It's just like a creepy mask.
Very labyrinth
Very labyrinth. Very
inspired.
labyrinth.
Yeah.
The last shot of the movie where it's kind of like backing out of the dark cavern or whatever with all the snow globes, and then they all kind of like coming from the sides. I was like, that is a labyrinth shot.
Yeah, it's the one weirdly creepy shot in Labyrinth where like they're kind of watching her sleep at the very beginning and they're like talking amongst themselves and stuff.
And there's like yeah, hilarious. But yeah, so a couple more iconic lines. I love um they like go to open the door because like they're getting packages delivered and like the sister answers it, but then there's the other package that they go and get. And she's like, why do rich people get all the good presents? Well, I don't know, Democrats maybe. They're just hilarious. It's so weird.
There was a line that Tony Collette says that I kind of gasped at, and I don't know if it's intentional or not. I have to look this up. So she's talking about like Max getting in trouble at school or something, or like with they're talking about the neighbors and whether or not the neighbors are gone. And she's like, they're in Florida, they're in California,
Oh
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever. And then like we can't go talk to them ever since
yeah.
like the noodle incident with Max. Do you know what that is?
No.
Have you ever read Calvin and Hobbes?
No.
Okay. There's okay, so Calvin and Hobbes, a comic about like the boy and his stuffed tiger, right? Released in like the 90s. Um Favorite comic of all time. It's literally just like about this boy getting up to his shenanigans, and there's an ongoing bit over like the 10 years
Mm.
that this comic was released, where like they never explain what it is, but they always like mention the noodle incident
It's so
as
fun.
like this insane thing that maybe happened at his school that like caused him to get like the worst detention of all time. And he's
Amazing.
always like, it was false allegations. Like no one could prove that I did. Whenever anyone brings it up, and Hobbs is like, it's just it made me chuckle.
I'm so glad that that was a thing that was like just for Joe.
Just calling something the noodle incident, I don't think that can be a coincidence.
It surely cannot be. That's amazing. That's really cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It's fantastic. I'll look it up to see if there's an actual connection there.
That's really fun. Yeah, I do love that too because Adam Scott's like the noodle incident. He forgot about it. Um, the leads of Adam Scott and Toni Collette are, I think they're fantastic in this.
Yeah.
Adam Scott kind of like riding the wave of Parks and Rec.
I like Adam Scott as a horror guy.
He's great as a horror guy, and I love him as a dad.
He looks good holding like a revolver defending his family.
Yeah, and in a cardigan too, just like a
Yeah.
cozy, warm cardigan. He's just got good dad vibes. I like it.
Cute little
I
cute little package. I mean, to quote like Leslie Knope on Parks and Recreation, he's got like a taut little elf body.
Yeah. Do you wish I were taller? It's so good. Yeah, there's one scene like where he turns around and like you can see just his little butt, and it's just like, yeah, that's what Leslie Knope loves. And then Toni Collette is just a fucking powerhouse. She rules
Yeah.
in this movie.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with Tony.
You can't. But yeah, all in all, well, before we go to some final thoughts, do you have any other kind of bits that you wanted to kind of discuss and pick apart?
No, I mean, I thought it was a fun movie. Again, it feels very compact in a good way.
Mhm.
I like the different styles that this director is working with because obviously when we watch Trick or Treat, that's a very complex Russian doll
Anthology.
story
Yep.
structure where he's like tying together different narratives in weird ways that you don't even realize. And then this one's very straightforward. I thought the uses of CGI in this movie were pretty terrifying. Even though like the practical effects are great, I like it. We've talked about this. Like I like it when like CGI is used as like a compliment rather
Mm,
than like the
gotcha.
entire thing
Yeah.
being CGI. And
Mhm.
so like you have the scenes where like the teenage girl is like walking down the street and you kind of see Krampus on one of the rooftops, like his shadow,
Mhm.
and then she starts running and then like
He's
he's
like
following along and then like he'll like do these inhuman like leaps from
yeah,
rooftop to
spinning
rooftop,
these Hulk style
and
leaps.
it's like his like really creepy like robes with chains on them are just like flopping all around him and you're just like, oh, I don't like this. And the the sound design with
Yes,
Krampus
is
is
so cool.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
all just like hoofs and just like, again, like he's like draped in fabric and chains, and
Yeah.
so you always can hear him, and it's there's a heaviness to him.
Yes, it definitely gives some weight to him, and I think that's what makes him so imposing and
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, the title character is, we already touched on it already, of him being more of an idea, more of a presence, and that is scarier in a
Hmm.
sense because you can't understand it. There's no reasoning with him. There's no bargaining with him. He's going to laugh in your face and throw you into the pit anyway, which is really cool. And then I love the backstory element. The Even though the animation style doesn't like super fit,
I
um,
like there is animation in this movie. Like
which is
that's
cool.
always cool.
Which is cool, and that's kind of similar to Trick or Treat, where
Hmm.
there's the flashback, but it's an actual filmed flashback. So maybe doing the same kind of thing over, which would have been maybe overkill, like filming that with an actual person and kind of just hinting at the shadow of
Hmm.
Krampus and stuff. But I think it was a neat choice to do
No,
some
I mean
animation.
with these types of movies that I think are weird, like it maybe comes off as like jarring to me at first, but then I realize, and my thought process is like, it's cool that this exists. I'm glad that like this is able to be made and is able to make money. So we just don't have the same old stuff all the time.
Yeah,
This is a weird fucking movie.
it is. I love the animation style too. It kind of reminded me of sort of. the three brothers from
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
the
the
Deathly
Harry
Hallows.
Potter sequence.
Yeah, but I'm glad it wasn't just like straightforward, like round cherub faces. It was kind of like a studio's
Yeah,
uh, animation kind of style.
it's
Very
Coraline-y.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. Dug it. Cool. Yeah, this movie is a fun romp all around. I love it so much. The comedy brings some good levity, like the Gingerbread Men and some of the, David Kirshner and Adam Scott just providing some great one-liners. Um, I would have enjoyed a more darker twist, more akin to Trick or Treat.
Hmm.
Maybe not fully into the like anthology style that it did, but like maybe a little more darker tones, a little more serious. But overall, I think the lightness makes it that much more rewatchable.
Yeah.
I think just because it's silly and
Has the director done anything else like in this same vein? Like what's he been up to?
I am not too familiar with what he's done since these movies, but there is talk of a sequel of Trick or Treat.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
it's called
making
Smell
that.
My Feet.
And then the threequel is Give Me Something Good to Eat. Yeah. Uh, he's talking about making that one a hard R movie.
Was Trick or Treat not R?
It was R, but like a
Yeah.
gentle R.
Mm. Okay, so we're
There's
doing like
blood.
we're doing crazy stuff in
Yeah.
Trick or Treat
I
too.
would have liked some blood splatter in this movie,
Right.
which would have been cool. Anyway, Joe. So that is the end of Krampus, and now we are into end games. We're going to do something that we've never done before, and I will explain it after the video break.
As always, I am terrified.
Joe, we're going to play a spooky game.
That was scary.
Scary.
There's a bunch of scary stuff happening in those clips.
Those scary images. Yeah, for audio listeners, that was I got some really cool like free clip videos from I think pexels.com is where I get those.
Shout out to Bexels.
I'll tag the video artist in those. A lot of those are from the same one.
Very nice.
Super cool. Joe, we're gonna bring it back to what we did last December with Gremlins. We're gonna play the game called Does It Cryptid? But this is the European Folklore D&D edition.
Oh,
We're gonna do a light little role playing thing. That's why I asked you to bring your dice.
You tricked me.
I tricked you, and you fell for it.
Ugh. You
You
said it was for another reason.
like a silly boy. You fell for it.
I'm going to hell now.
I only have the one set of dice that you
Okay.
brought me, so I'm going to have to give them to you every so often. So I don't know how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
This will be fun.
Okay.
We open on a small town somewhere in the middle of America, northeast, middle, Midwest
Akron.
America. Who knows? Somewhere in there. You're a young lad who's home alone tonight, as your parents have left for a late night church service like they do. It's late December, and another fresh snowfall has just begun. The pale moonlight floods through the eastern window as you lay another log on the fireplace. All is quiet, save for the crackle of the flame. You reflect on your year. I'm going to roll for you, if that's all right. We'll
Yes,
just do
please.
that.
Yeah.
Joe, have you been good or bad this year? I'm going to roll this D4. 1 or 3, you've been bad. 2 or 4, you've been good.
Okay. Krampus, I've been good.
Ooh, that's a 1. That's a
No!
natural 1. You've been bad this year, Joe. So you're reflecting on your year of maybe you've been not
It was
so
just 2 puppies.
just two. Okay, I was not gonna go that dark. Jesus Christ! Be like, it was only that one time I stole that kid's lunch money, or I took an apple without looking. It's just two puppies. My God. Well, you're reflecting on your horrible year. Okay. Just as you relax into the chair by the fire with a warm beverage in hand, the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up. Thinking it's just the chill of the season, you pay no attention to it. But then you hear several things happen at once. Laughter and scurrying on both sides of your house just outside. The sounds of a large, lumbering, footstepped individual of a four-legged creature on the rooftop, and the dry, rusty tolling of small bells from your chimney.
Mama? Papa?
I don't have a character sheet for you, so it's just basic whatever.
Wait, are we playing D&D?
Yeah, you're rolling for perception right now to see if you recognize any of these. Let's see. Ooh, 13.
I get a +2 perception modifier.
Do you? Okay, yeah. 15, fine.
I ain't got glasses.
I got glasses and really good ears. Okay, so you know some of what this is.
Okay.
You recognize the laughter and scurrying around the house outside to be multiple individuals. You know that those are 13 little like monster nymphs, the children of the grotesque Grilla. You know that's who they are. The mountain-dwelling ogress who captures and eats naughty children. These are her children. These are her mischievous monsters. You know that you can count, and you think there's 11, 12, and then 13. You know that there's 13 outside.
I've faced you again.
Yeah.
I've faced you once before.
You recognize the sound of the four footsteps on the roof. It kind of shuffles just like that one pet cat you used to have several years ago. You know that this is the pet of the Yule lads. This is the Yule cat that is on your rooftop.
Is that a real thing?
Mm-hmm. Oh. You know that this cat comes for you because you didn't get any clothes for this year's holiday. You know it's after you.
Come here, kitty. No food?
Roll you for persuasion.
Can I gain the cat as an ally in this? Yes.
5. Your goes unheard.
Shit.
And the chimes and bells that you hear in the chimney, you instantly recognize, even though it's a 13, but with your +2 modifier. Mm-hmm. Your really good ears and your deep history of the lore, you know that that's Krampus.
It's Krampus.
Krampus, he's come for you. Oh no. So, the anti-Santa.
Krampus, a cat, and 13 little elves are stalking me.
Yeah. So a little bit about you.
Yeah, what are my weapons? What are my powers here?
You are scrappy and resourceful.
Okay.
2 Christmases ago, you got a bow and arrow, a little practice one, mm-hmm. Like a Nerf one, but you've been secretly making like bow and arrows for yourself.
That's not a good sign, but okay.
You're a bad kid. You've not been having a good year. You have...
Sounds like I don't have a lot of parental one-on-one time or guidance. Yeah. All right.
You're praying for you in church right now. You have 60 homemade, some shoddy, more shoddy made than others, more piercing bows, but you have a plastic bow and arrow.
All right.
That's your ranged thing. But you also have your meaningful grandmother's snow globe, mm-hmm. as well for your melee.
that you have. Break it and it becomes sharp.
Or it's just a blunt beating weapon.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. So I already rolled for their initiative. I'm keeping the Yule lads together, all 13 as one. They're going to act all together, but in groups of 4. The Yule cat is one thing, and then Krampus. And your initiative 3. You're going dead last.
Okay. Is everyone in the room at this point?
No, they're outside on the roof and in the chimney. You're
Oh, okay.
inside,
Okay. Yeah.
but you are last to act.
Good.
Great.
I want to scope them out.
So the first 4 Yule lads attack first. The Sheepcoat Clawed, Gully Gawk, Stubby, and Spoonlicker are coming for you. Let's see. What did I put your armor class at? Oh, I put you at 16.
What is my health?
50.
Oh, damn. All right.
12, that's a miss. So Spoonlicker, he licks spoons and he has a couple left over. He hurls them at you and they miss. They go by the wayside. You're able to duck pretty quickly. Stubby, he's just short and steals food from frying pans.
Uh-huh.
He tries to throw some of yesterday's fried potatoes at you to kind of like get the grease in your face. And again, you're able to kind of just like turn it away.
Little asshole.
Yeah, Gully Gawk kind of just like fumbles over his buckets of cow milk, and the Sheepcoat Clawed tries to like spook you with some shorn sheep stuff, and it doesn't work.
Justin,
yeah.
Can we just like pause? You're really good at this. Like, I'm having a great time.
I watch a lot of Dimension 20.
You do the Dimension 20 thing? Okay, keep going.
I watch a lot of this. The Yule Cat is next to act. So they are on the roof. Okay, so the first 4 Yule lads kind of like broke through one window at once, and they tried that, and they had their misses.
Wait, are there lads and a cat?
Yeah, there are 13 lads outside, a cat on the roof, and Krampus in the
cat is with the lads. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
they're all related.
I got you. Yeah.
The Yule Cat is on the roof, and he's going to try and he's going to move down to the front door to try and come in and paw his way in. Scratch on the door, but it's a really big cat, so he can't. And he doesn't get in, which is fine. He's going to just ready an attack for his next round. And Krampus is also going to withhold his next round. So you are next. So there are the 4 lads inside. There are still the remaining 9 outside. The Yule Cat at the front door, you can hear pawing, and you can still hear Krampus in the chimney. What do you do?
I use Vicious Mockery on the Yule Cat, and I say, no,
bad kitty.
No, bad, wrong. And I say, I have a water bottle in here. No. And in the
That's
meantime,
not a spell attack, right?
A what attack?
That's not a spell casting attack. It's just a
Vicious Mockery is like a bard thing. It really depends on like what type of character I am. I imagine I don't have any spell slots, right?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I have a bow and arrow with me. You're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll give you 2 attacks. You can have two attacks this round.
Okay. I would like to use the rule of cool and see if I can shoot an arrow that will pierce through multiple of the Yule lads that are with me in the room at once. If I can get them all in a row.
Okay. Okay. So they're all 4 in there, and they're kind of like attacking at you wildly. Yeah, I'll say that since they came in the same window, they're probably all about pretty close. And you're a skilled ranger attacker. You can kind of maneuver in a way to try and shoot them all at once. Yeah. That just barely hits. Their armor class is 8. That was a 9. So that hits, and they have very little HP. So let's see. So you hit them for 6 points of damage. So you kind of like do in the first 2, you get them with the first stick, but the last 2 kind of like just kind of get knocked back.
Yeah.
They're still up and standing. So there's 11 left.
Yeah, and I said that there's more where that came from. So why don't you fuckers bring it?
And okay, so they hear that and they kind of scuttle to themselves in like Icelandic or whatever.
Yeah, I ready a few arrows in the fire. I heat the tips of them so that they are burning.
Great, I love that. Great. All right, so it's top of the order. They're gonna go again, and that is gonna hit. So the second group comes in through the other window. This is Pot Scraper, Bowl Licker, Door Slammer, and Skier Gobbler. Skier Gobbler is the one who likes to eat up all the Icelandic yogurt. So he's going to kind of just like projectile barf at you. And that is going to hit, and you're going to get dealt 3 points of poison damage. No big deal.
Shit.
I don't give a shit. And let's see, Bowl Liquor. He's going to huck a bowl, an empty like ceramic, handmade heavy bowl, at you, and is kind of going to hit you in the head and give you 6 more points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So you're down 9. No big deal. You're still up and running. You got 50.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Yule Cat, has been viciously mocked and is kind of just going to kind of hiss
No.
at you. No.
No.
That kitty.
Off.
Down.
Down.
Kitty's going to go into your backyard and kind of just like fuck around and just kind of like decides it's not worth it if it's just going to be insulted.
That's good. That's good boy.
Kitty's not going to take it. Kitty's just going to go in the backyard and kind of just shit in your backyard and all your grandmother's petunias and
I'm
stuff.
gonna feed him later.
Yeah, it's fine. Krampus is going to make a move. He's going to slide down and he's going to hurl some chains. He's got a chain as a ranged attack.
Is he in the chimney?
He is kind of like coming down the chimney.
Okay.
But you said you readied some arrows, some
Got
flaming
some
arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's somewhat of a fire in there.
Yeah. You kind of just put on a new log, so it hasn't quite caught all the way yet. So he's not all the way down. He's kind of hanging down, and he's going to try and like hurl a little bit, and he missed with a 9. So now your turn.
Okay. I turn to the bowl liquor little lad, right?
Mhm.
And I say, before your brothers died, they told me that they thought that you were a fucking joke. What kind of parent names their child bowl liquor if they have any sort of respect for the babe in their arms? You should just end it now.
He looks at you and he says, "Hey man, just cool it. We were just trying to have some fun here."
If you want to die with any sort of dignity, you'll take yourself out and as many as these would-be tormentors with you.
He's like, you guys, he is really mean. I don't need to take this anymore. My therapist said I should do better, and I'm going to do better.
While he's distracted, I grab a flaming arrow from behind me and stick it up his nostril.
Describe to me what comes out the other end with your flaming as you...
You know that scene in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, when Qui-Gon is trying to get through a metal door with his lightsaber, and he's just like pushing it straight through, and slowly but surely, like the door just starts to melt just from the heat?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's happening with this arrow out the back of this little elf's skull.
Great.
And so it like kind of starts glowing a little bit, and you can see things start melting, and then all of a sudden it just like reaches a point where like I break through, and then it's like rains.
Yeah, the heat as it goes through his nose, you see his eyes like start to like melt down his face.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's starting to get glowed warm orange up here as it pierces through. Seeing that, the remaining 2 from this window and the other 3 from this window flee. So there are 5 left, 2, 4, 5, 6 left that have yet to come. But yeah, their numbers are looking pretty bad.
Okay, great. Are there any weapons that they have on them that I can maybe grab?
Let's see. Pot scraper. Well, you're kind of you already have your
I've
bow
got my little
and
snow globe.
Yeah, you're full. You can't grab any more.
Okay.
And it's all their stuff is sticky. You don't want their stuff. It's sticky. All right, Yule Cat.
Why is it sticky?
They're little mischievous shits. They're Yule lads. One's covered in yogurt. The other one licks stuff. Like, they're sticky.
I'm gonna need a picture of this later.
Yeah, these are all like very real cryptids, or just like traditional kind of storytelling things. The cat is out because you have mocked it and it insulted the cat more than anything.
It's embarrassed, and so it's in the backyard trying to pretend like nothing happened.
Yeah. Krampus is going to take another swing at you with his chain. He's going to take 2 swings at you with his chain. The first one misses and the second one misses real bad. He's getting pissed off because he can't quite come down into the fire yet, or down to through through the chimney yet because now that second log that you just put on is starting to build up a little bit more. Let's see. Back to you again.
Back to me again. Are there any lads in the room around me?
There are not.
Okay.
The cat is in the backyard. The other 6 lads have yet to act, but you can still hear them scuttling outside, and you know Krampus has tried to attack you.
They can come as soon as they're ready. I'm going to break up the chair that I was sitting on and add it to the fire, baby. We're having Krampus tonight.
Great, I love it. That is a good move. He's going to roll with disadvantage at the next time.
Yeah,
because he's like,
yeah,
or yeah, that's hot.
Stupid asshole.
Stupid ass. All right, the last 6, 3 from one window, 3 from the other, are going to come in and kind of avenge their brothers. And they miss. Door sniffer, sausage swiper, window peeper, meat hook, and candle beggar come in. That's only 5. Okay, so there's just 5. I miscounted. They come in and they like trip over the urine from the fear and then the excrement on the other side from the 2 that you've murdered, or the 3 that you've murdered rather.
Yeah,
they kind of come in and they slip. They try to like hurl things at you. Sausage swiper throws a rancid brat at you, but it goes astray. Candle beggar throws like a really like hardened steel candelabra at you, but it like flutters out of his hand and kind of like skates to your foot. And meat hook,
these guys are losers.
yeah, meat hook impales himself with his own meat hook, and he is dead. So there are just 4 left. Of those guys. Cat's out. Krampus is gonna try to kind of come down on his own, but see, that's disadvantage. He doesn't make it. He's on fire now. By his own hubris. He's trying to come after you. Now it is your turn. You got Krampus in your sight, but he's on fire, and you've got 4 other Yule lads, 2 on either side.
Okay, while the Yule lads are kind of stunned, I'm going to go around really quick to the 3 that I have killed, gut them, take out their intestines, tie them together as rope, tie up the Yule lads because they're like small, right? They're kind of small. Okay, I'll like stack them up on each other.
Okay,
you can make me roll.
I need some dexterity here with the intestines.
Dexterity, they did have them just like stack up on each other, like stomach to back for on top of each other.
Yeah. Okay. With a 13, I say that you barely get to do that.
Okay, so they're doing like these little like squeal thingies. They're kind of just like but they're kind of tied up with intestines right now. I stack them up like a Jenga tower, essentially.
Grotesque stack of pancakes. Great.
Stack of pancakes, perfect. I aim them at the fire, so they're like looking forward at the fire. Then I like climb up and just do like a pound right down on top of them. And so the air rushes out of all of their lungs at once, like a big, huge bellows, creates a large fireball that I would like to use to attack Krampus right now.
Okay, yeah, because he's still like on top of the fire. I'm going to say some athletics there, and that's a nat fucking 20.
Yeah.
You do all of that with gusto.
I think I just break a spine each as I go down.
A Mortal Kombat style fatality of just like down.
Katana wins.
And the rush of air and like refuse and whatever from their stomachs kind of just like ignite the flame. Where Krampus is near to on top of and just lights him up even more. He was already on fire, but like his drapes were just barely his bottom of his cape.
And like as I'm jumping, I'm like,
he's engulfed.
I'm like, do you feel the Christmas spirit yet, bitch? And then I like land on them all.
Give them a second blow.
No. This is
as
it's
that's
happening.
The first one. Great.
Yeah, we're flashing back.
Okay, so all those lads now have their spines. The ones who were alive still are spines have been snapped with that nat 20.
I don't think they're alive.
Yeah, they're super dead. And Krampus is engulfed in flame. That is a 2 on what would that be? Probably just a dexterity save or a constitution save to like try and put himself out.
For Krampus to put himself
And
out?
he cannot with that too. He kind of stumbles around and like runs into the fire some more.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna like wildly.
He's wearing that cloak.
He's gonna with a 2, he's gonna try to wildly like try to attack you, but he can't see because
His hook like bounces off something else and hits him.
Yeah, he's just blinding, throwing shit around trying to hit you. He can't. He runs into
I
the
pull
fire.
out a cigarette and I light it on him, and I like just like watch him.
With your turn again, you get 2 more attacks again to finish him off.
I pick up my snow globe.
Yep.
Smash it down on the bricks on the fireplace so that it's just shards of glass on it and like whatever fucking castle is inside of it.
13, you take 7 points of damage because you cut your hand.
That's even cooler.
Yeah.
I'm like bleeding. I look him in the eye, and then I'm like, not today. I shove it into his face, and it presses like through his mask, like into his eye holes, and then I let him fall backwards with a snow globe embedded into his skull. Did I get to do that?
I'm gonna see if he falls. Let's see. A 1, he's gonna fall into the fire. A 2 or 3 on either side, or 4, he's gonna fall back. 4, he falls backwards, not into the fire.
That's fine.
But he's still engulfed in flame. Now he has some shit in his face, and let's see. He's all out. Death saving throw 12. He passes. 1, he fails. Oh wait, with a 1 you get 2, right? You get 2 deaths or 2 misses. 15. Oh no.
It's like Jumanji.
Ooh. I'm going to narrate what happens. Okay, so that was his last death saving throw. You see he kind of does the Obi-Wan, where you kind of see him just kind of slink down, like his body kind of pushes down and he becomes just like the pile of his clothes. And you're kind of dumbfounded and bewildered. You're like, where did he go? I know I killed him. Yeah, he's out of breath. Your hand is bleeding. There's yogurt. You kind of like try to not slip yourself in some yogurt. But you're like, where did he go? I know, like he was on fire. Like I stabbed this thing through his face. Like there's no coming back from that. But he disappeared somehow. Where did he go? Outside, you hear the cat scurry off. Down the street, down the lane, as you hear your parents drive up. They come in and they kind of see the mess, and they're like, Joe, are you all right? What happened? Are you okay, bud? Like what's all the mess? Like did someone break in here? What happened?
Oh, I'm acting this out.
Yeah,
you left me alone. I'm a 10-year-old boy, and some burglars broke in, and I think I killed one of them.
You see your dad looks over to your mom to be like, burglars came in, honey. And she goes, are burglars in this neighborhood at this time of year? It's Christmas.
But look at the yogurt. Don't you see the yogurt?
Look at the yogurt, honey. There's yogurt there. Your dad, yeah, you see he goes, like quietly to himself, be like, not this year. And then he looks up at you and he's like, he'll come for you yet. And then you hear the jingle bells of the chains off into the distance and like a soft
Start to kill my parents next.
The end. As you still clutch your fist behind you with blood, you're like readying for another attack. And you're like, my parents are in on it.
Just
scene.
My goodness.
That was Does It Cryptid Eastern European Folklore D&D edition. I've never done that before. We've never done that before.
Have you never played D&D before?
I've played D&D written a whole thing and planned any of that out. Like I've never done that before. That was fun.
Very
That
fantastic.
was fun.
How many options did you have? If like, what if I was good at the start of that? What would have happened?
The same thing would have happened.
Same thing.
The big note that I had at the bottom was just improv, baby. So we did it.
I like where I ended up on that one.
You did really good.
I wouldn't mind revisiting that scenario in like future movie scenarios. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Krampus's revenge.
This is going to be our longest episode.
An hour and a half. We're an hour and a half deep.
Oh God,
that's what that was. The cameras every 30 minutes.
Oh.
So we're an hour and a half deep. Joe, that was super fun, super great,
very fantastic.
Krampus is fun. He's very real, or real in some people's minds, just as real as Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and Jesus. You know, they all get together and hang out. But this movie was fun. Do you want to kind of tease out as we close out 2023? Another full year under our belt of doing this podcast, or actually our first full year doing this, like a full calendar year.
Yeah.
Thoughts and highlights, and what are you excited for in 2023?
What
or 2024 for us?
I think we've struck a nice balance between themed mini series each month versus kind of wild card months. So I'm excited for us to cover a wider range of movies in the new year. Speaking of which, it sounds like January we're going to have a very special month for one of our favorites. We're going to cover two movies in the filmography of a particular actor. One, Mr. Tim Curry.
Timothy James Curry.
You know him from Muppet Treasure Island. And we're going to kick off January with the Joe pick that is the 90s Three Musketeers.
Yeah, we talked about this in a previous episode. Actually, it was during Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah,
you said how much you loved him in that role, but I'd never seen it. That's one of the few Tim Curry movies I haven't seen.
It's gonna be a fun time. We're gonna have a lot of Sting talk.
Sting
I already teased this.
Sting Station. Yeah,
we're gonna talk about Chris O'Donnell culture.
Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Robin himself.
He looks real good in this movie.
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson.
Love it. That's amazing. Yeah. So 2024, we're gonna try new things. We're gonna try and focus on every month. Look at either a actor or director. Or like cinematographer, composer, just kind of open up the
consistent thread between the two movies that we talked about.
Kind of open up the focus. Whereas before it was more like themes. This time we're going to put it around a person, and then we'll probably explore television and music next year. I want to do as well as a potential name change. I think we've outgrown the uncultured cinematic universe, especially as we talk about getting into TV and music. So more details to follow, but that was the Uncultured Cinematic Universe, talking Krampus. Check us out wherever you get your pods casted, and check us out on Instagram at UCU Podcast. You guys, this is great. It's 12:20 a.m. on a Saturday. Joe,
it's so late.
Joe's gotta go out of town, and it's gonna be so much fun. He's going to the Midwest.
I have to drive 12 hours in 6 hours.
Oh my God. Thank you guys so much, and catch us later.
Love you.